All right, we are official. We're live. We are here in SPG, the Sales Professionals Group. Got you spread on YouTube. We're all over the place right now. Super stoked, man.
Yeah,
Um,
same.
so our relationship is, I mean, we're pretty new. This is puppy love stuff. So, dude, when we connected. Man, there's all kinds of people who come into the group and they have things to say and things to share, things to sell, whatever. And very few of them. What's ironic is very few of them have the like sales wherewithal or presence to actually communicate and build rapport when they want to come in and just like, hey, I got stuff to sell on your platform. You came in and stood out immediately to me as like, oh shit, like this guy's a real sales professional. This guy gets it. You were extremely respectful. uh, I had not one single qualm with you coming in to the platform. And in fact, just a few weeks later, like here we are. We have some pretty big plans moving forward. Man, I want to lead this with the title: turn one customer into seven higher paid deals. Who are you? What does that mean? Like, tell me about these seven deals and kind of what are we here to talk about? And then I'm gonna hit you with I'm gonna put you on the spot with your personal story and we'll roast you a little bit and see if we can tear into you.
Okay, awesome. So the turn one customer into seven plus deals, higher commission deals is all about customer referrals. When I came into sales, and I won't get too much into the background right now, we'll get into that in a second, but um, uh, the referrals are key to that. And it's not just uh, understanding that, it's how to ask for referrals. It's how to generate these referrals from your existing customers. It's an untapped reservoir of just uh, abundance for everybody if they just knew how to tap into referrals. So that's what it's all about, and following a specific process to achieve that.
Did it what well, I mean, we were having a conversation yesterday. It kind of blew my mind, right? The like I've led sales teams. You've led some sales teams. You've been around sales professionals for some time. I've been around sales professionals for some time. If people were to just ask for them and just did the first step, it's
Hmm.
like that alone would help. But
Yep,
you
100%.
actually dedicated, so my understanding in our communications, you actually dedicated yourself and your time to perfecting a referral process. This is why I'm so excited, is because referrals alone, follow up alone, I know what it's done for myself, my business, my income, my career, and removing a lot of BS, like all of the door knocking, cold calling, all of the really early stage sales stuff that makes most people quit.
Hmm.
You figured out, hey, referrals, like this is way easier. Let me just
Hmm.
make this a process.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, that asking part, I've talked to in the last month or so. I've talked to several guys that I respect in the energy, in the industry, guys and gals who are running successful solar companies, and they're the owners and the leaders of these companies, and they're like, yeah, I don't even ask for referrals. I just figure that they're going to come to me if I do good enough, if I treat my customers well enough, which is, of course, is fundamentally a foundational piece. You have to treat your
Yeah.
customers well. But they're like, oh, I just figure referrals will come to me. Yeah, you'll get some here and there, but
Mhm.
people are busy. No matter how much people love you, they're busy. You have to know how to ask for them, when to ask for them, how many times to ask for them. And, but yeah, 100%. You got to ask.
All right, so I want to get meat and potatoes into some of this stuff, but I also want people to know who you are. And man, I think my favorite part of sales is asking questions. It's literally the title my title in my organization, Chief Question Asker. I ask those thought-provoking things that everybody wants to know. So, like, what I know about you is born in Massachusetts, currently living in Utah. You are Mormon, which is intriguing to me. How Mormons are like always the top salespeople in the world, like right? Yeah,
Yeah.
share with me who you are, as much as you care to share. And if I see anything, just ask for forgiveness now. I'm going to probe deeper into that, and hopefully we'll come up with something that's worth listening to.
Cool. All right. So yeah, I got to back way up, and I got to go into my childhood. I grew up in a home with I'm the fourth of five kids, and I grew up in a home where I knew my parents loved me, and I knew my siblings loved me, and that was a huge blessing. However, there was a lot of contention in our home. I was 7 years younger than my next oldest sibling, and they were teenagers at the time that I was a kid. So they were doing teenager stuff and causing a lot of havoc, and that just kind of made the contention and stuff that was between my parents even worse. So I grew up for a lot of reasons. I grew up excruciatingly insecure, very shy. I stayed back in. I mean, they had to hold me back in kindergarten because I was so dang quiet. They could not tell what my aptitudes were or if I was intelligent at all because I was so
Wow.
quiet. Uh, so growing up telling
They
people, yeah,
actually they actually held you back.
yeah, yep, they held
Wow.
me back. That's how quiet I was. And so growing up, that only added to my insecurities where I had to tell my friends, yeah, I stayed back in kindergarten. They're like, okay, never heard of someone being held back in kindergarten. So extremely shy. I mean, up through my teenage years, 15, 16 years old, very much an introvert. Um, did not see myself like these other guys my age who were more extroverted in our religion, preparing to go on that mission at 19 years old. And I was like, I'm not going. There's no way I'm doing that. Uh,
Do you even get a choice?
oh
Are
yeah,
you
100%, 100%. You
okay?
get a choice. It's very much it is for us men or at that time boys, essentially. It is more duty bound. You do feel a duty to do that, but you still get a choice. Yeah.
So,
Um,
I'm curious about this insecurity because
mhm.
I don't take you as a super insecure guy now. I think you carry yourself pretty confidently. Like, if, what made you feel insecure as a child? Like, and like, how far back do you remember those kind of feelings?
Mm. I remember back in kindergarten, preschool, even preschool. So 2, 3, 4 years old, just always 100%. Like I feel like constantly comparing myself to others, my peers, since that time, and I was always inferior. I always felt like I was inferior to them. Uh, I'm still working through that, understanding why exactly I felt that way all the time. But
Yeah.
yeah, as far back as that, I was constantly comparing myself, and I still fall. I'm 40 years old now. I still fall into that trap too much. But yeah, so that far back.
Yeah, well, you know what's interesting? I love the study of humans and their brains and the way that they work. What's interesting to me is self awareness. If you're
Hmm.
like, what's one of the best traits of a sales professional is empathy,
Hmm.
and I think that self awareness, and a lot of people who grow up with self doubt, and there's studies on this too with parents who are maybe toxic, abusive parents, abusive siblings. Like, I don't know if that's your story or not, but uh, there's ties with trauma to sales performance, and
Hmm.
it's like, it's strange where motivation comes from, and like, I just want to say I resonate. Like, I certainly have had a ton of doubts, and I think I went the opposite direction. I actually became the class clown and became extroverted because I wasn't sure how to fit in, so I would just
Hmm.
make an ass of myself.
Yeah.
But That's cool to see those similarities. So what happened after? So you went on the mission? Yes.
Yeah, yep. So actually, in just a couple years before my mission, so between 16 and 18 years old, I definitely did not fit the mold of I don't know, church boy or whatever you want to call it. I went about and did the party scene and drinking and all that stuff and
Okay.
and fell into that a little bit. And but it was not producing. I became talk about self-awareness. I became aware that it wasn't going to produce anything good in the long term. So at that time, my girlfriend at the time, she broke up with me at about 18 years old. We were dated for a year and a half or whatever, and that was heartbreaking to me. That was like I saw us getting married and all that stuff, and that was my plan. It wasn't to go on a mission at that point. It was just to go into marriage and get through high school and all that stuff. And but she broke up with me. Totally was completely devastating to my teenage infatuated heart. And but that was exactly what I needed to be like, hey, this is the catalyst I need. I'm gonna take this brokenness I feel and change my life. So I went through a process of therapy and all this stuff to get to tap into that self. Go ahead.
That's wild, man. This is right out of high school. Are you still in high school?
Yeah, this is yeah, in high school, coming right out of high school, yeah.
Yeah, your self-awareness was far superior to mine. It took me a lot longer to figure out I was fucking up drinking
Yeah.
and well, kudos. Hats off to you, sir.
Yeah, no, no, for sure. So, I appreciate that. So basically going through that process, I was like, you know what? I do want to make a difference in people's lives. It's kind of funny from your perspective or maybe other people's perspective outside looking in for the little or the lot that they know about Latter-day Saints, Mormons, as commonly known, uh, is there's some stereotypes within me. Like when I look at the typical Latter-day Saint, I see the blonde hair, blue eye, su- far superior intellect and intelligence, and individuals that can go out and knock on doors for these missions and then come home and be these superior sales gods or something. Like I've
I know
never,
that guy. I know exactly that blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy. I'll post
yeah.
a picture for.
Yeah. So I did not that's who I was constantly comparing myself to. So I did not resonate with that stereotype. And I know plenty of them and they're great individuals, but a lot of them bug the crap out of me too. So so anyway, I go on
I
my
just
mission.
want I just want to know about the magic underwear. That's
Hey, you can Google it. It's all there. Uh,
uh, so where did so walk me through career. Like, did you start in sales?
No, when I returned from my mission, so I served my mission in Montana, actually, beautiful Montana,
Yeah.
and
Wow, what a
I
place.
got yeah, yeah, awesome. So I got home, and actually, my father owns a small residential commercial painting business. So when I got home, I just painted with him, and I did that for like 10 years. And I had dabbled in I don't know some sales stuff, a lot of multi-level marketing, the
Sure.
promise of riches without work, and whatever else they say.
Yeah.
Uh, So that was the good 10 years from 2002 to 2012, 2013 that I did that. And and then I did some Amazon sales,
So wait, here's
selling stuff
here's
on
a
Amazon.
question
Yeah.
for you. So multi-level marketing, I may or may not have participated in my younger years. Uh, they're like friends, family, like the script. They're all the same. It's like call everyone you know and tell them what you do, and then bring me in, and I'll close your family for you. It's like
Hmm.
super super predatory, and like I mean, shit, it works for a lot of them. So
Yep.
how did you do in these multi-level marketing deals? Like, yeah,
Yeah, not good at all. No, it was I did I did not resonate with the go after your warm market. and all that stuff. I did not do good at that at all. So
Yeah, it's
that brought me,
embarrassing. Call your
yeah.
aunt and tell her you sell Tahitian noni. Like,
Yep. Yeah, I did not do good at that at all. So it came to about 20 April 2014 that up until this point, man, honestly, for those 10 years of our marriage, and at this point in 2014, we had 5 kids. Uh, and we weren't making diddly squat. I think we were making $20,000 to $25,000 a year. So we survived by God's grace and the help of family and everything that I did not want to rely on. That's how we survived. I wanted to be able to, succeed myself, obviously. And so come April 2014, I'm like, we are totally broke. I got to do something. I got to find something. So because I'm a praying man, I got on my knees. It was on a Friday at the end of March of 2014. And I said, I need something by this weekend. Like, I cannot go into next week and not have some kind of solution to this issue. And so I come to on Sunday, I'm at church, and there's this guy at church that stands out. We were in Springfield, Massachusetts at the time, and our congregation, great people, but a lot of individuals in the same boat as I am, not wealthy or affluent in any means. But this guy stood out. He's got this nice suit on. I'm like, I got to talk to this guy. There's something different about him. So I go and talk to him. Come to find out he's working for a solar company, just starting to build a solar team in Western Massachusetts.
okay, got a guy in a
And
suit, mysterious man in a suit.
yep. And he
Okay,
just carried himself. He was kind of like, he wasn't blonde hair or blue eye, but he was almost like that stereotypical, I can either compare myself to him and not talk to him, or I got to just follow my gut instinct and go talk to this guy and see what he does. And so he told me about what he was doing, building the solar team. He invited me to the team meeting that Tuesday. So I went, and at that time, with the lower commissions, right at that point, it was Solar City, Sunrun, and Vivint Solar were the top dogs in the industry, and we were all making like $210 per kilowatt. So just to quantify that for anyone who's not familiar with that commission structure, we were making anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 every time we installed the system at that point. But to me, that was like, I'm
game
going to be
changer.
rich.
Yeah, yeah. Now I hear guys. I know a guy who he made 108. Well, actually, Sean, the guy from the first interview, $108,000 in personal income in a single month. Like these solar companies are crazy. What
Yeah.
is a solar commission now? How is it measured in kilowatts? Is it
I mean, your average. So I would just say the simplest way is, of all the companies and guys I talked to, and what I was doing was anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 per install is average now. So quadruple plus of what I was making when I first started.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
So I try not to think about how much I would have made, when I was doing these huge numbers
Yeah,
back
about
then.
quadruple.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Hmm.
all right, so you went into solar sales. What we know about you now is you got 5 kids, you're married, you are terrible at multi-level marketing and did not align with warm market. You went into solar by way of mysterious man in a business suit. Uh, okay, so what happened? Like you started making good money. Like as of this moment, all I know is you didn't like multi-level marketing. So how did
Hmm.
solar work out for you?
Uh, so my first day out on the doors, I believe was April 11th of 2014. Uh, it was terrible. It was terrible, despite the fact that I had served a mission and knocked on doors. Tons of anxiety. One thing, from my story is I've always dealt with anxiety and depression and things like that. So that went hand in hand with the insecurities and all. So anyway, somehow survived through my mission with that stuff. But so my first day on the doors, I was just racked with horrible anxiety. I knocked a few doors, got in my second door, totally flopped the presentation. He was really nice, but he's like, no, I'm not interested. So right after that, I went home. I was like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. I go home. I'm laying on the bed. I'm just crying. I'm just crying, just to be totally vulnerable with you. I'm bawling my eyes out. My wife comes in. She's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "I can't do this." And she lovingly said, "You have to do this. There's nothing else." So I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, you're right." So I went out the next day and just pushed through, closed my first two deals. That was a Friday. Went out Saturday, closed three deals. And then I think it was my second full week, I closed 17 deals. So,
In a week.
you know, in a week, it was about $500,000 in contracts. Um, and
What
then my
this is in Utah or Boston or
all
Massachusetts?
Western Massachusetts. Yep, the hills of Western Massachusetts. So
So
about an
half
hour and a half
million,
outside of Boston.
500,000 in a week, which
Hmm.
blows my mind because I mean I get to see people in all different industries talk about their commissions and talk about their revenue produced and these things, and I see car sales guys that brag about hitting $1 million and roofing sales guys talking about hitting $1 million, and here you are, 500 grand in a week
Hmm.
revenue.
Yep. Yeah, my second full week, and then my first full month with the company, I closed what was it, 52 contracts. So that was on average about 1.5 million. And then my first full quarter, I closed 94 deals, which was whatever 2.8 million. My first full quarter in contracts. So, so that sounds all great,
Yeah.
but I was struggling. I didn't want to go out on the doors every day. I was good at it, obviously. I resonated with the people I was selling to, but my
Well,
anxiety.
what sales rep doesn't have this story? Like,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
doing, I'm doing good. Let me stop what I'm doing. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So normally I would be like, all right, like there's a coachable moment here. A sales rep is having success and wants to burn it all to the ground. Now I know a little bit of what happens next. Apparently you decided to come off the doors and work on this referral process. So then what happened? Like I mean I'm leading you obviously here for anybody who's watching, but I'm like I'm mind blown. So
Hmm.
keep going. I'm gonna
Yeah.
shut up. Keep going.
No, no, all good. So it was actually in my second week, we went to a training with our regional manager out in Boston, and he shared some of his process to get referrals. And he was so busy, he actually enjoyed knocking doors, but he was so busy with referrals that he couldn't even knock doors. But honestly, I came away from that meeting with a glimmer of hope that, okay, maybe I can succeed with this without having to knock doors so much. Uh, but I kind of was like, yeah, it sounds a little too good to be true what he was telling us. So I honestly, for the next month or so, didn't do much with what he had taught us. But because the anxiety was getting worse, I was like, no, I got to do this. So I started following his little bit of the process that he shared with us, started
Mm-hmm.
having success with that. And I was still knocking doors a little bit because I had to get that referral pipeline going. But it was only within a couple weeks that, and because I have empathy and treat my customers very well, again, foundational piece, you're not going to do well with referrals if you're a douchebag. um, so I come into this process that he shared, and just started. I think we're in about about June 2014 at this point,
Yep.
and I'm following this process and start getting referrals going. And I think it was for a good year and a half. That first year and a half of starting that, I was too busy to even knock doors. Because I was getting so many referrals, and I was like, okay, I can do this.
That's wild, man. So what do you? I mean, you developed or carried on this guy's process, developed it a little bit to work to your style. Uh, what do you think your best month off these referrals was revenue wise? Just because people love those vanity metrics, myself included.
Hmm. Yep, for sure. So, well, I'll break it down to a week first. My best week was 23 closed deals, all referrals. That was and that had been preceded by other PR weeks of 17 closed deals, all referrals, and then the 18 closed deals, all referrals, and then 23 was the top that I got, all referrals. So revenue wise, 23. What is that? I did I write that down? Yeah, about $700,000 in closed revenue, closed contracts in 1 week. Um, and I think the 18 in the week and the 23 in the week were all in the same month. So I don't know, 1.2 to 1.5 million in revenue in 1 month, just all referrals.
That's it, no knocking nothing. All right, so
No,
we can sit here and play with the story and do all of that, but that's not why I brought you here. I brought you here because you actually teach this now, and uh, like it or not, I have roped you in to sharing it with the people of SPG. So, as much as you're willing to share, man, I would love to get you to talk about some of this process, give some value, and share what can people do, whether it's in solar or any other industry. I guess let me ask you that first. Like, is this just a solar thing?
no, no. This is, I mean, you can be selling roofs, gutters, windows, cell phones, dish, satellite. If anyone sells that door to door anymore, I don't
What,
know, but
what about cars? Is this does it have to be
100%.
door to door, or can it be something different?
So no, yeah, it can be. Let me just say real quick, the one piece of the process that I got from my regional manager at the time, I took that, I ran with it, made it my own, and since that time have added about 6 or 7 elements to it that just it's like game over for when people implement my whole process into their sales process, into their customer sales journey. One of those pieces is from the guy that owns the world record for selling the most cars in a year. His name is Joe Girard. And so I adopted, and he sold cars all by referrals. The guy never walked out in the car lot to, go tackle one of the people walking the car lot.
Yeah,
Just,
that'll resonate with the audience there.
mhm.
Everybody loves the black top.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it can be done with anything that you sell, it can be done with, because here's the thing, customers that know, like, and trust you and have received the benefits of whatever you sell want to help you. They want to refer you. They want their friends and family to benefit from it. So yeah, whatever it is that you sell, it works.
Okay, so how do you want to kick this off, man? It's your value to give. I know when we spoke yesterday, you were kind of the mindset that you're happy to share. So I guess I'm going to pass the metaphorical microphone or control of the conversation over to you and let you kind of guide. How do we all go get referrals? Like I got my handy notepad. I got my trusty pen here. Like I'm actually looking forward to learning this from you. Uh, so, dude, take us away.
Okay, awesome. So just a couple quick fundamental pieces that have to be understood first is we already touched on one. So number one, understand that your customers, no matter how much they like you and know and trust you, they're busy. They're not going to remember to, most of them will not remember to refer their customers. So number one, like we said, asking for referrals is uh, an absolute, you have to ask for referrals. So that's number one. And then there's ways to ask for referrals correctly. There's ways to do it incorrectly, and there's also pieces or milestones in each customer's journey with whatever you sell when you can appropriately ask for referrals again. It's not just a one-time thing. You can ask for referrals multiple times if you identify those milestones. Were you going to ask something?
No, I'm note taking.
Okay. So then the one other foundational piece I'll touch on real quick is understanding what the definition of a referral is. So if I'm with a customer and I ask them for referrals and they give me a list of 5 or 10 or 20 of their friends, those are not referrals because they have not introduced you. So the top quality referral is someone who they believe will that the customer believes that their friends and family will obviously be interested in. And when you ask them, hey, do you have it right from the get-go, first sales presentation, first time you've sat down with them or been on the phone with them or over Zoom, however you sell, when you ask them for referrals, you need to ask them in such a way that they introduce you to their friends and family first. I've had customers where I've asked for referrals. They're like, oh yeah, here, I'll give you the list of names and numbers and just you go ahead and contact them. And I've said, no, I'm not going to do that. They're going to be mad at you if I come and approach them without you introducing us. So I'm going to give you, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, just a quick, easy script that you can text to your friends and family, asking them if they're okay with an introduction to me. And then you can just introduce me through a group text message to them, and then I'll take it from there. So top quality referral is those that have been introduced to you. Just don't think of a referral as anything but that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, man. I'm taking a ton of notes here. I'm curious if you're willing to share what's in that script. Like, what do you actually offer to them? What to say to their friends and family?
Yeah. So basically, you wanna do a quick role play, or you want me to go through the script?
Whatever you want, man. I'll role play with you. Let's go.
All right. Okay. So we've just gotten through the presentation. You're signed up. You're going forward with me, and I say, "Hey, Robert. So my company expects me to knock doors. To knock all your neighbors' doors, and I'm sure you can relate with how exciting that sounds, right?"
Yeah, man. 100%. I wouldn't want to be in your shoes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's brutal. Um, so uh, working within a group of friends is one of the things I love about this job. And so, is there any reason that you want to introduce me to just a couple friends or family members?
No, I mean, I've had a pretty good experience so far. I don't have any reason not to trust you. Um, I mean, what does that look like?
Yeah, no, great question. And just a quick side note away from the script is right there, you're just giving the customer an opportunity to bring up any further questions or objections that maybe they weren't comfortable before, or they didn't think of when you were going through your sales presentation. So it's important to do that. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone there.
Yeah,
So,
I love that.
yeah, so good question. What does that look like? So I'm not going to reach out to your customer or to your friends and family. I got a piece of paper here, and this piece of paper is just a simple blank sheet with some lines just for them to write down names and numbers. So Robert, I'm going to give you this sheet. Can you just write down a few of your friends and family that you think would be curious to see if they would qualify for, in this case, solar? Can you just write them down real quick? So you just jot those down and getting it from your brain out on paper. You say,
Now,
so this,
hit me with something here, because I know how I would react and behave in this situation as the sales rep. To me, this is a dead silence while they're doing their thing, just bask in the awkward silence. What is it like when you actually ask? You hand them the paper. Are they you getting any resistance there? Do most of the time with the script, do they just immediately write 2, 3, 5 names down? Like
mhm.
what as a sales rep, can somebody watching this expect to experience, and how should their behavior, how should they behave during?
Yeah, great question. So number one, when you hand them the paper, you treat it just like you would when they sign the contract. What do you do when they're signing the contract? You shut up and just don't say anything. So number one, just let them do it. Don't try to fill in anything. They've already told you they like you, trust you. They haven't identified any reasons or objections why they want to introduce you to some friends and family. The only objection I've gotten maybe a couple times, or resistance at this point, is, well, I do like you, I trust you, but I want to see, I want to see the results first before I tell my friends and family that. And you can either just let that fly and be like, okay, I understand, that's fine. Because there's other points in the sales process when you can ask for referrals. Or if you got a really good rapport with them, which you should, otherwise you're not going to even entertain writing down any numbers. You can say, yeah, I totally understand that, but remember those neighbors that I showed you, the benefits that they've gotten, in this case, their lower electric bills or their zeroed out electric bills. The same reason that I persuaded you to sign up today and go forward in this process. You're going to get those same benefits. And I don't even know if your friends and family will qualify at this point for this. So it's just kind of like, who do you think is curious to find out if they qualify? And I'm going to show them these same results that their neighbors have gotten with us. And so, let them make that decision. If you could just write down a few names, family and friends names, like I said, I'm not reaching out to them first. All you're going to do is I'm going to give you this text message you can shoot to them. It's really short and simple.
Yeah.
And they can make that decision.
It's like, Miss Jones, do you consider yourself to be an intelligent person? It's like, you signed on the dotted line here. We're moving forward. I would never insult your intelligence and provide you with a bad product and then ask you to embarrass yourself in front of your friends. Like, that's almost the behind the subconscious messaging of what you just said.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. So let's assume that they've gotten past their resistance, or they didn't provide any resistance, and they wrote down these names and numbers. I just say, so would you be willing to shoot them a quick text message I'm going to provide to you? Would you be willing to shoot that to them before your site analysis, Mr. or Robert? Would you be, so your site analysis would be the next step in terms of a solar system. So would you be willing to shoot them a text message before your site analysis? So I'm just trying to set it up. I'm not going to unless I just had like an amazing relationship where I felt like I knew these people forever. In that case, I would ask them to shoot them a text message, their friends and family, that they wrote down a text message right there and then before I even leave the house. But if there's there's a good relationship, but I feel like I might be putting too much pressure, asking too much by asking them to do it right then. I want to get them thinking, okay, I'm going to do this before my next step.
And stop me if I'm getting ahead, but is there any incentive for them, cash or anything like that?
Great question. So here's the thing. At least from what I'm familiar with in the solar industry, there's a lot of competition that are offering, $1,000 per install or $500 per install. If they've heard of those incentives floating around, and they're like, well, I sat with this other rep who promised me 500 or 1,000 per install. You can go down that road if you want and say, yeah, I'll match that. Or if you really want to set yourself apart from the competition, there is a way to do this without incentivizing them at all. You're tapping into this social construct of goodwill where we all want to help each other.
Yeah.
And so if I can strengthen that social bond without incentivizing them, then I'm going to take that route every time. So what that looks like for me is I always reward my customers in some way. I try to avoid doing it in cash. So I've looked around their house, or maybe if I'm on a phone call or remote sale, I pick things up that they enjoy, maybe some hobbies or whatever. I've tried to pick up some things that they personally enjoy in their life. and I'm going to send them a personalized custom gift as an appreciation for any referrals that they've give me. Like, so I'm from
Sure.
Massachusetts, love the Red Sox. If a sales rep gave me some kind of customized Red Sox gift or tickets to a Red Sox game or something like that, that's going to go so much further than cash ever will.
Yeah.
So, yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, phenomenal book, Giftology. If nobody's read it or heard of it, it applies directly to this, and it teaches specifically how to gift. So, side note, little asterisk there,
Yeah.
Giftology.
Yeah. So I want to tap into their heart of wanting to help me out and give me referrals. They know me. They know that I have 6 kids now. They know that I have 6 kids. They know that working within a group of friends and family is my bread and butter. And so, we've tapped into that bond there that I can leverage in an ethical and honest way to get them to send me referrals without even an incentive.
So to recap, this is just in the first meeting. We haven't even touched down the
Mm-hmm.
road later, but they're busy. Don't forget to ask. Wait
Mm-hmm.
until the agreement is signed. Uh, Definition of referrals: someone they believe will have a genuine interest in the product you sell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where
And
I
that
do.
they've introduced you to. They've done this.
Okay.
You've provided this script to them, which this is the last part. Let me touch on that real quick, and maybe that'll fill in the gap. So I just say, so they've written down these names. They've agreed to send in their friends and family this text before their next step in the process, whatever that process is. So I just say, I really appreciate that. Let me make one thing clear though. You're busy, I'm busy, and your friends and family are busy. I have found that no matter how interested they are, if you just pass my number to your friends and family, they're going to forget to contact me. 90% of the time, I'm never going to hear from them, even if they want to see if they qualify. So feel free to change any wording I'm going to provide for you in this text message.
Yeah.
Um, but except leave the part about asking them if it's okay that you introduce me to them through a text message. So,
Right.
Robert, in other words, I'm asking you, introduce me or text your friends and family and ask them specifically for permission to introduce me to them. If they give that permission, go ahead and put me in a group text message with them. If for some reason, sometimes some of your friends and family might say, no, I'd rather just reach out to him. Can I have his number? If they say that, just pass my number to him and hopefully I'll hear from them. That,
Mhm.
and maybe we'll look out there. But if they do say, yes, I'll reach out or introduce me to them, then put me in a 3-way text and I'll go from there with them. So, and then in the text message itself, it's just, and really I only provide a script to my customers to send to their friends and family because some of them are like, I don't even, just tell me what to say. And then you have some times where they're confident and that it's just as simple as, hey, I just found out my house qualified for this product or service or whatever, whatever the product or service is. Would you like to find out if it would work for you?
What do you?
He
What do
was
you?
he was an awesome sales guy. He treated me with respect. He's like one of the best people I've ever met in terms of a salesperson. So, you know,
What do you think
just
your success rate is when you look back? I mean, I know the title here is turn one customer into 7 higher paid deals. What realistically, if I'm a sales rep and I actually follow the whole process, we're only part of the way there, but if I follow the whole process, what can I expect? Like, what did you actually see when you were doing this?
So I'd say looking back from just that initial ask and this whole process, we're having them write down these names and stuff. I would say that I averaged uh, probably 2 to 3 referrals from just that initial ask.
That's
Okay.
per deal.
Yeah,
Well, what
per
do you
deal.
think the percentage? Did you have people that never did it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's some people that either never did it, or you need to understand too that with your customers, they have a certain level of credibility with their friends and family. I mean, if they're kind of like they got friends and family, but they're not very trusted for what they do. Well, they'll you know who they are, I should say. Then they're not gonna, they're gonna be like, okay, thanks, Bob, but I don't trust anything you do. So you'll have
It's
that
funny.
sometimes. So that's why I'm saying on average, because I had some customers that would give me a bunch of referrals, qualified referrals, introduce me to a bunch of friends and family from that first
What is
ask.
cousin Eddie from like Christmas Vacation? It's like,
Yeah, yeah,
imagine
pretty much.
getting a phone call from that guy, and he's like, "Hey, Clark,
Yeah,
I'm gonna introduce you to my solar rep. He put some badass solar on my trailer over here. You're gonna love him."
yeah,
I get
yep.
it. That's funny.
So you'll get that sometimes. But where the real magic comes in is how to leverage your customer's Facebook profile.
Okay.
And I got to be a little careful with. This is getting into some of the secret sauce of my process, of my 6 or 7 part process. But uh, that is actually the first thing I learned from my regional manager, is how he was killing it on Facebook, generating just a massive amount of referrals. And it's so easy. It's just so simple and easy, but it kind of blows my mind that I've watched the other individuals that went through the same trainings and learned about this process, and how I did not observe any of them implementing this. But it's what really, so this initial ask, of course, along with coupling it with this leveraging Facebook without buying ads and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's what, let me just share a quick other part of my story. In 2015, we moved from Massachusetts to Southern California. I was like, I've grown up here, been here my whole life. I want to try to sell somewhere else just for the fun of it, and we can go anywhere we want. So we went to Marietta, California, and I pretty much, and so that 2015, I sold I installed 72 deals, solar systems, and 65 of them were referrals. Or no, I'm sorry, 68 of them. So about 95% of them were referrals. 60 of those installs were from referrals I was getting in Massachusetts. I beat most of the sales team in Massachusetts for their installs while I was in California.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that was from the asking and
And you
leveraging,
didn't
knowing
even,
how
you
to.
didn't have to be in person to close those deals. You got on a call
Yeah,
and
that was in the days before Zoom. I had to figure out which technology to use. A lot of it was just over the phone. I wasn't even seeing these people face to face over Zoom or anything like that. So
that's
that,
nuts.
yep. And
Really.
and I leveraged. I still asked for referrals. I still implemented my process, with these individuals coming from Massachusetts. So I didn't even have to be there in person. No.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm tracking. So first is we sell a deal, we ask for referral. Second, we're using Facebook, or rather, we're leveraging our customer's Facebook profile in order to gain referrals. So what's next? We said there's 6 steps.
Yep. So, and just a quick note on the Facebook part. There's a right way to do it and a wrong way. Most of the guys and gals I see attempting it, they're doing it completely wrong. And that's definitely part of the process. So
I
you
feel
have,
like it would be in bad service of the professionals of SPG not to ask, like, can you touch on some of the Facebook stuff? Like, I can't imagine that it's going to give away the entire secret sauce of your program if you were to just touch on it. Like, I don't know, whatever
yeah,
you're comfortable with, though.
yeah. So number one, start as soon as the customer signs that contract. Ask them, hey, are you on Facebook? Are you cool if I send you a friend request? And you can follow them on Instagram. Instagram is okay for this process, but Facebook is
Yeah.
the swiping in Instagram is just a little too fast. Not so much a place to have a conversation about solar. So start requesting your friends, or I'm sorry, your customers on Facebook, number one. And then this is when the product or service is delivered or fulfilled. You go to them and say, hey, would you mind posting on Facebook for me? And then you give them a specific script, and you tell them how to handle questions in the comments and all. And so they're posting on your behalf. So I got to be a little bit careful in terms of how much I give away here.
Yeah. No, like I
But
said, man, no harm, no foul. If somebody wants to reach out to you and get the full process, they can. I understand, and for anybody who's watching, like this process is literally what Tristen teaches. So, out of respect for his customers, he's not able to share everything because there's a line there. But
mhm.
dude, no harm, no foul. Like I said, bringing you onto this, I told you I'd put you on the spot and I would drag as much as I could out of you, with respect for your customers. So I'm just grateful for. I literally have a whole page of notes here. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm
But
just happy to have you.
answer your question, and I appreciate that. To answer your question, so yeah, how to ask from the first presentation at the close, identify milestones in the customer journey where you've provided value to them, the service is fulfilled, product is delivered, whatever it is. You can ask for referrals again. And then there's a way to leverage simple direct mail, postcards to stay in contact with your customers on a monthly basis. Because no matter how good you are, your customers, again, they get busy. Maybe they'll lose your phone number. Hopefully not, but maybe they'll forget your name. You never want them to go directly to the company to where they're delivering their referrals to the inside sales department or however the structure is in your company. You want those to come to you. So you're constantly leveraging direct mail to stay in their face, and it's another relationship building tool. You're making small investments into your relationship bank account
Yeah.
by staying in contact with them regularly. Uh, how to leverage a little bit of direct mail too, around the neighborhood, around your customers. How to take the
And
credibility
you
you have with
actually,
your.
as a sales professional, though, you out of your own pocket would do direct mail right there inside the neighborhood.
Yeah, because it's cheap. It's so cheap. It's automatable. You can
What are
put it
you
on
you using like a get the family? I mean, you got what'd you say, 5 kids? So you
a.
got five little helpers there licking stamps.
uh, maybe back in the day, but now there's companies out there that I use that have, they do it all for me, but it's personalized. It looks handwritten and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I use those. It's cheap. The return on investment is just astronomical. There's no question about whatever it costs, on a monthly basis to leverage these services.
And you're
And
not,
then
yeah. I mean, the problem with direct mail, I think the story, the narrative everybody has is like sub 1% success rate using direct mail. And that's when you're talking about sending out 40,000 mailers, sure, it's sub 1% or sub
mhm,
2%. But these are actual neighborhoods where you have deals. You've got
mhm.
now, are you including a customer's name and say, hey, I was working with, so and so on Tristen Avenue,
Yep.
and and
Yeah.
we've had some success, like whatever, blah 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 blah. Would love to work with
Mhm.
you too.
Yep. Get your customers' permission, of course, but most of them are happy to do it. It's just a simple mailer that they're happy to
Yeah,
help their neighborhood out on. And then there's ways to set up collaborations between you and other complementary businesses, not uh, to what you do. So for solar, I'm going to set up relationships and collaborations with contractors, electricians, painters,
yeah,
roofers, all that kind of thing. there's a simple way to set that up. And again, all of this, once it's down and pumping out, a lot of this can be put on autopilot. So a lot of times reps have said, man, this just sounds like a lot of time that I have to invest. And it's, yeah, if you were trying to figure it out by yourself from the get-go, yeah, it's going to take a lot of time. But implementing this process, most of it is just put on autopilot. And anything you don't want to do, it's easy to outsource to, I don't know, friends, family, or virtual assistant, these days with all the things that we
Yeah,
have at our disposal.
It's laughable to me. Like, so my first sales job ever, sold gym memberships, right? And I learned from Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, that somebody's first name is the most important name to them. So I made it a part of my foundation, a part of my commitment, that I was going to learn as many first names in the gym as I could. And I ended up, I don't know, that we had 800 people that used the gym on a regular basis. And like just that one fundamental thing, implementing the crap out of it, changed everything for me. And I was the top producer like within 30 days of learning how a couple little tweaks and implementations. 30 days later, number one sales rep. It was gym membership, so whatever. But in a lot of ways, you're kind of the man in the business suit, the man in the suit that everybody's got a story about that one pivotal moment, that one person they met, and it changed everything. 9 times out of 10, when you get down to foundational implementation and a trusted and proven process, that's really the difference between okay and average salespeople and absolute top producers. So so we've got like 3 minutes left. You've got 3 minutes. The platform's yours. Don't hard pitch anybody, but man, you share whatever you want to share, whether it's about the rest of the process, how to get in touch with you. I want people to have an opportunity because I understand the value that you're doing. So take it away, finish this off, and do your thing, man.
Okay, cool. So one thing I wanted to touch on real fast is that when you are sitting with your customers or on the phone, over Zoom, however it is, stop looking at them as one sale. You have to treat your customers with, number one, genuine concern. You really want to benefit them. And understand that if you just treat them like one sale, like you just want to get in and out, collect your commission, and be done with them, well, that's your business. Or you can look at them as a well of literally infinite referrals. They refer you to even just one person or two people. Well, now you have a new source of referrals. So start seeing your customers as that infinite well of referrals, and it'll change your mindset and your paradigm as to how you treat customers. And that's what makes you stand out, because we're commodity, us salespeople. We're a commodity. You have to find a way to stand out, and that's the way you do that. And so, for anyone who implements any of this, you will start getting referrals. Just start asking. If you're like, well, I don't know how to do the Facebook part, that's okay. Just start asking, because that's where most of us have to start anyway, is start asking for referrals. And then for anyone who might be interested in learning the rest of the process, you can look up Door-to-Door Sales Multiplier on Facebook. That's my little group. I'm very selective who I work with, but that's where I work in a small group setting with a few select people to walk them through and shepherd them through this process. And just with a little bit of time invested, take a little bit of time that you're using cold calling or knocking doors and implement this process. You're gonna you will save yourself so much time and energy. So whatever's most important for you, spending time with family, those that mean the most to you, this is all about getting what you want in a faster way where it's energy producing. You can come home to your family or whoever's most important to you with more energy than you've had before. So just it's cliche, but it is about learning how to work hard and smart. That smart, part of that.
It's funny how many quotes and things like that are out there that like it takes a decade to process what somebody meant, because for them it took them a decade to process it, so they say it whatever. That's amazing. Dude, my favorite piece of this whole thing is the quote you just said: stop looking at your customers like a single sale. And then you said it would shift the entire paradigm. I love intention. I love intentionality and selling from a place of character. It's literally GIVE. Sales professionals give the name of the show: growth, impact, values, and excellence. If people would take that and digest that one quote that you just said, stop looking at your customers as a single sale.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait the 10 years to let that digest. Go out and do that. Man, that's incredible, man. So what's the you have a website link or something that we can share? No?
Nope, just the Facebook group, Door to Door Sales Multiplier, and of course you can friend request me on Facebook, Tristen Smith.
I'll tell you what,
But that's what it is.
Will you give me the link to your group, and I'll drop a post for anybody. I'll put one in SPG. We'll pin this post at the top for a few days, and then we'll put in the comments of that a link to go to your group.
Yep, 100%.
Cool, man. Tristen, it's been a pleasure, dude. I'm stoked to have your friendship. I'm stoked to have this content to drop in the group. I'm grateful for you, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah, same to you, man. I appreciate this time.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks, bro.